What's going on, everybody? My name is Grant and welcome back to the channel. Thank you all for joining me so you can be here as we discuss the latest and breaking news surrounding the Washington Commanders. Today we are going to be talking about big names: Terry McLaurin, Laremy Tunsil, Marshon Lattimore, and the breakout rookie we're all waiting to see for the first time, Trey Amos. If you've been down there at practice already, then you've seen it, and I'm jealous of you because I have not been out there, but I hope to go soon, and I do already have my tickets for opening week against the New York Giants, so that's going to be a bunch of fun. Guys, I do have a lot to say about this news here, and I'm going to be reporting and giving you my opinions, but more importantly, I want your opinions. So please, as we go through, go to the comment section. Let me know what you think of this news. Remember not to kill the messenger if it's something that I didn't say and I'm just sharing it with you all. And to everybody who comments, I will be responding to you and I appreciate you. So please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And let's start by talking about the main man, or main man adjacent, because Jayden Daniels is kind of the face of the team now. But Terry McLaurin, the OG of the team, the guy who's coming off his career year, had 82 receptions for 1,100 yards, basically 1,096. 13 touchdowns, a Washington Commanders franchise record. It was celebrated with a nomination to the Pro Bowl, although he didn't end up going, and of course, an All-Pro team. Now, Terry is currently not showing up to the offseason camp, and it's to be expected. Even though he's entering his age 30 season, he wants a contract extension. He wants that final really big payday, and he wants to be rewarded for the great season he had last season, excuse me. Now, this is according to Kevin Patra of NFL.com, and I quote, "McLaurin is set to earn $15.5 million in base salary in 2025 on the final season of a 3-year extension worth $23.2 million per year, which is obsolete in today's wideout market, where 8 players are earning $30 million plus annually. McLaurin skipped the start of voluntary OTAs, reminiscent of his approach in 2022, when he also skipped mandatory minicamp before landing his current contract. McLaurin has proven to be one of the most consistent and dynamic wideouts in the NFL, having generated 5 consecutive 1,000-yard campaigns. Now that the Commanders finally have a quarterback in Jayden Daniels, they should keep their playmaker happy. Washington traded for Deebo Samuel, who earns slightly more, $23.9 million, than McLaurin, but it hasn't been nearly as consistent. Basically, the bottom line here is the Commanders know they got to pay Terry. Because even if they were taking the approach of the New England Patriots under Bill Belichick, where they always tried to trade a player 1 year ahead of schedule, wherever you thought that was. If Terry McLaurin was on the Patriots in 2013, there's a chance he would have been traded by now, or he would be traded for the upcoming time. With Adam Peters and Dan Quinn, what we know about this regime, not only did they get the best out of everybody, and not only did they answer the question of what Commanders fans always pose, the hypothetical, what if Terry got an elite quarterback? Imagine Terry with an elite quarterback. We answered that question. But above all else, they have valued culture guys more than even top flight free agents. You know, the pickups of Bobby Wagner and Zach Ertz and Austin Eckler, good players. But really their defining quality was, even if their bodies broke down and they couldn't perform, they were going to be culture guys. We know, everybody knows, Commanders fans far and wide know the connection that Jayden Daniels had with Terry McLaurin. Also know that Terry was responsible for like 1 out of 2 catches. But basically, it felt like half the production was coming from Terry. So even if he's following the trend of going into his age 30, 31 season and starts to decline a little, if you get 95% of Terry McLaurin last year, that's still an all-pro caliber player, and it's someone who's going to be your locker room guy and is one of your longest tenured players. Might even be, actually that's not true because I can think of a couple others, but point being, he's the elder statesman in the locker room. Everybody loves Terry McLaurin, and I do expect Adam Peters to get this deal done. I know that Terry wants to be here. I know Adam Peters wants to reward his guys, and although it's only year 2, I know that he knows what Terry means to the franchise, so I think they're going to get it done. On to the next big name, which is the one and only Laremy Tunsil, one of the biggest acquisitions of the offseason, certainly the biggest for the Commanders here. At worst, a top 3 pass blocking left tackle in the NFL. He did lead the league in penalties last year, but some of those concerns are a little overblown. He shouldn't have been flagged for the penalties. Let's make that clear. You never want to get flagged because it means you did something wrong. But sometimes flags for an offensive lineman aren't that individual person's fault. It could be miscommunication. It could be the person next to you missed an assignment. It could be the fault of the center or the quarterback who didn't adjust the protection properly. Whatever the case may be, Tunsil is still a great player. Now, he wants a contract extension. He's not guaranteed to get it. He hasn't shown up to camp just yet. And for all we know, that doesn't mean that he's holding out. You got to keep in mind, he did just get traded by the Houston Texans, so maybe he's got family stuff going on. Maybe he's back in Houston sorting out some things with his house or pets or whatever the case may be. Or maybe he's just such an elite player, again, a top 3 left tackle in the NFL, that he doesn't want to be there with undrafted free agents and all the other players who are there right now. It's great that Zach Ertz is there. It's great that Bobby Wagner is there, but maybe Tunsil just wants to be on his own, or maybe he's able to train better, get better skill work with his personal trainer versus being in these not cookie cutter, but more inclusive training camp systems with, again, the undrafted free agents, the rookies, the guys who aren't even going to make the team. That's certainly understandable. Tunsil is guaranteed $10 million this year. None next year, which is a big if there, right there. If we get to a next year and they want to keep him around, he will count for $21 million against the cap both this season and next season. I don't think he's top of the priority list. Let me make that clear. I don't think he's at the top. Terry should be number 1, and a guy we're going to talk about in a second. Actually, whatever the resolution is, he might be going before Tunsil. I ultimately believe something's going to get done here because, in my humble opinion, Adam Peters would not have traded for Laremy Tunsil if he didn't know he was getting him on the field for at least this year. So whether that means an extension is coming, whether it means they just are going to feel each other out and then revisit it in the middle of the season or the next offseason, whatever the case may be, I'm not concerned that Tunsil's not going to be on the field. You don't make a trade like that unless you're the New York Jets trying to get a Hassan Reddick. And I trust Adam Peters a lot more than I trust that Jets regime. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to give the man his credit and his respect for where it's due. Now, the third player who is this established star in the NFL and the one that is at the most precarious sort of position is Marshon Lattimore. So when he broke onto the scene, he was defensive, maybe not defensive player of the year level, but a first-team All-Pro level cornerback from day one in the NFL. He signed a 5-year extension and I believe it was worth $90-something million. He could currently want a contract extension. He's still under contract. His current deal will count for $18 million against the cap this year and next year. But the Commanders have an out. They could cut him right now for $2 million, which, dead cap is never good, but that's essentially nothing in the grand scheme of things. What makes him so interesting is he also has not shown up to camp. If he hasn't shown up just yet because of a contract, it could very well be what I was saying with Tunsil. Maybe he's still recovering from his hamstring problems. Maybe he feels more comfortable getting work in with his one-on-one trainer. Maybe he just wants to work at a high school. Maybe he's got family drama going on. Whatever the case may be, if it turns out that he hasn't shown up for the offseason activities because he does want a contract extension, this raises an interesting question for Adam Peters and Dan Quinn and company. They traded a package to get him. It was a third. I'm trying to remember. I think it was a third and a fifth and a seventh, or a third and a fifth, a sixth. I know there was one pick was traded and a pick came back, so they kind of canceled each other out. I think the net was sort of that 3-5-7. So it's not like it's nothing. It wasn't a huge package. It wasn't a first. It wasn't a second. It wasn't heavy investment towards the future, but still, it did count for something. So it would be a bit of a shame to lose him, given we only saw what we saw last season. And it was tough circumstances. He came in the middle of the year, had to learn a new system. He showed up injured. There was pressure for him to get back out on the field. He got injured again. He didn't play great. Nobody would say that he did. I don't think that's the player that Marshon Lattimore is, even though he is an injury-prone player at this stage of his career. I don't think that's who he's going to be week 1 through week 18 every time you put on the helmet. But it is what we saw of him last year. And for the compensation that we sent to the Saints, you want to get more out of him. I do believe he still has a lot to offer. And when we pair him with Mikey Sainer still, Jonathan Jones, reworked secondary, now includes Trey Amos, who we're going to talk about in just a second, I want to see it at least for a year. I guess that's my bottom line. If he forces the issue and demands a contract extension, I trust Adam Peters to get something worked out. I don't think they're going to cut him. I don't think they're going to trade him. But I think the best case scenario for the Commanders would be you get to see him one more year, and then you can decide on his future. Trade him, cut him, keep him. Obviously, keep is the best case scenario, but we'll see how that plays out. The final piece I want to talk about here, the final piece to the puzzle, is Trey Amos. Because this guy, if you watched any of the Commanders' content they put out around the NFL draft, they took him at the end of the second round. They said they had a first-round grade on him, and they almost drafted him over Josh Connerly Jr. They're thrilled with Connerly, but they said that Trey Amos was in consideration for that first-round pick. So that means there should be real value here. According to reports, he ended up sliding down the board, still got taken in the second round because of a lingering back issue, but he said it didn't really bother him. He said he's feeling great right now. This is according to Douglas Fritz of Clutch Points. I'm going to read a quote here. Commanders head coach Dan Quinn had things easier on the defensive side of the ball when his cornerbacks made life miserable for opposing offenses. Legion of Boom. But the personnel didn't match Quinn's approach in 2024. The hope for the Commanders is Trey Amos will provide an aggressive spark. Plus, he can bait the QB, read from across the field, and converge on the ball. Now, Dan Quinn, as we know, loves these tall, physical, aggressive corners. It wasn't just the Legion of Boom. Of course, he did great things with that Dallas defense. They led the NFL in interceptions. They led the NFL in pick sixes. Both Trey Amos and Marshon Lattimore are physical enough, have enough size, and most importantly, they're fast and skilled enough to get up at the line of scrimmage, and they can play press man. And when I think about the entirety of the defense, if we have Marshon Lattimore on this side, Trey Amos on this side, and it turns out Amos can hold up, and you've got Jonathan Jones rotating around, Mike Sainristil still in the slot. Again, he can interchange with Jonathan Jones, or for whatever reason you want to put Lattimore in the slot. You've got multiplicity there. But the point being, if you have corners who can get up at the line of scrimmage and disrupt receivers as they're trying to get off the line and get to their release, then that means you're going to buy that extra half second for the pass rush to get there. What's the biggest concern with this Commanders team? They don't have true edge rushers, true blue chippers. If you can give them more time to get there by playing great coverage with these physical corners, then you've eliminated the biggest weakness of your team. So that's another reason I really hope Lattimore is, first of all, healthy, second of all, motivated, and third of all, able to get out on that field. Because a Lattimore, Amos, Sainristil, Jones rotation, I am bought in. I want to see what that looks like because I think it can be a top 10, if not better, cornerback rotation in the NFL. And again, if they do that, then they're able to improve the pass rush. Trey Amos, numerous outlets and insiders have reported that he's been extremely impressive from what they've seen so far, which is a very limited amount. But in the 7-on-7s, he already got a pick against Jayden Daniels. I do believe the receiver either ran the wrong route or slipped. There was something that went wrong on the play, but still, Amos had to be there, and he caught the pick, and then he also almost got one off of Sam Hartman. So he's already starting to impress. He's a tall, physical guy. He's got wheels. He can fly. I'm excited to see him play in that burgundy and gold. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. First of all, get in the comments. Like I said, the whole reason I'm doing these videos is to get your feedback. So please let me know what you think. Do you think we get the extension sorted for Terry? Are you concerned about Tunsil? And what do you think Lattimore's future is? And also, is Trey Amos your rookie to watch? What are your expectations? If not him, then who are you most looking forward to watching? I know that Connerly's going to be up there. I know Jalen Lane's going to be up there. There's only 5 guys, so it's a short list to pick from. But that will do it for this video. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will catch you all the next time.